So on one hand, as we grow as leaders, we go to new positions. At the same time, we're actually aging and we're at different, almost like I want to say developmental stages as a human being. And I think sometimes those, so you're accumulating knowledge, right? And you're going into new situations and you're thinking, you're reflecting on the past, like, how do I bring this to the next situation? At the same time, you're aging. And the complexity of that is not so much about like the aging process per se, but your relationship to new context change as you age. I think that's true for faculty in the classroom, and I think that's true in leaders in leadership positions. So what's on my mind these days is actually really generational differences. And in higher ed, as you know, even though I'm in my mid-50s, there are people around that are in a generation above me, and there's at least 2 generations that are younger than me. And they have really different conceptions about, those folks come into work with different conceptions about work and leadership and how leaders should behave. So that makes transfer challenging. So you absolutely think about, I mean, a strong leader is going to be thinking about kind of what they've developed as their enduring strengths. Like, this is what I do. This is how I lead effectively. And so some things like are really perennial and will always work. Like a basic leadership strategy is hold off, figure out the people that you're working with. So, I think that's a go-to like strategy that we can carry wherever we go. You got to figure out the people before you start enacting anything. I think that works. But other things are tricky. And so generation Y and Z, if that's what they are, I can't remember. Their relationship and their understanding and expectation of people to whom they report is very different than mine was. So I read something about this, which said, like, I always understood, like, if I had a boss or a leader who I didn't like, this was something I might complain about, like the weather, but it wasn't something which I had any control over, like the weather. Younger people today actually think that they do have some control over how leaders should lead. And they enact that ultimately they'll leave jobs. Even academics will leave jobs more quickly than they used to because they're not happy with those working conditions or with that leadership in particular. I read somewhere that, the perceptions that your boss is flexible and accommodating and will meet you is a very high priority, even higher priority than remote work amongst Generation Y and Z. So, okay, so your question is really about transfer. So broadly, yes, but you got to be careful. What can be tricky, and that's why I get at aging, is that just when you got it, like something's enduring, the sand is shifting. It's not enduring. Like that, I keep thinking about that. I was like, oh, wow, it's a whole new demand on leaders. That they be, and it's hard to be a leader. It actually is pretty hard. And people have high expectations of them. But that didn't used to be true necessarily, I don't think. I don't think there was as many demands from below on leaders. And I think there's greater demand from below on leaders. So if you don't see that, if you don't realize that yet, I think you're in a challenging situation. And I've observed that challenge, and maybe I'm challenged by that as well.